Tatevik's Corner. I have a very nice guest today. This is a very nice girl by the name of Tatevik. Hunanyan.
Oh yeah. I can't believe
Hunanyan. I just said that for fun. That's her last name. Hunanyan.
No onions. I love onions.
Yeah, no, we're going to say no onions from now on. She is a very accomplished martial artist. She's an actress. She's a professional wrestler. She trained with Benny the Jet Arquitez, who used to have a gym right next to Gold's Gym where I went. Benny the Jet has a lot of movie stuff, has stunt coordinated a lot of movie stuff. You were with WOW.
Yes.
Women of Wrestling. This
right.
is Jeannie Buss. Is that Jerry Buss's wife?
No, daughter.
Oh, daughter.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
he was with the Lakers?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
He owned them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I got that right. How long did you do WOW?
Let's see, for about, less than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be
It
honest.
just went up and then went down?
Just went up and went down.
Did you have...
Went on pause.
I didn't want to pause, exactly. I remember it well, actually, because we had Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, we had WOW, and then we had WrestleLicious, which is another knockoff of that, of course.
Yeah.
And I worked with the Glow, and I worked with WrestleLicious. I never worked with WOW. However, I knew David McLean and some of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Your background, you went to Strasbourg for acting? How was that?
Oh man, it was changed my life.
Did it?
Changed my life right off the bat.
How's that?
I've always wanted to be an actress.
Okay.
Actually, since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
I did my first play when I was in the first grade.
Yeah.
And I kind of, talked to my parents about it, but my parents weren't very supportive. And they wanted me to go through school and graduate and, live that kind of a life.
Of course.
But after school, after I finished school, I said, I'm going to take this a little more seriously, take matters into my own hands. And that's where I applied at the Lee Strasberg Academy in 2009.
How long did you go there?
I want to say almost 3 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
The method that he teaches is what? Is it like getting to know your character or putting yourself in a situation that you would believe that you would do if that was you? Cold readings, that type of thing?
Pretty much, but it's more so of working off your experiences.
I see. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, if you have no experience, it doesn't work.
No, it works, but
you know what I mean, though. I mean, if you have experiences, you can relate to things you've done in the past and bring it forward and do that. And then there are people who really never have any experience in life. I was on the phone with one this morning. Nothing's changed in 25 years, but that happens.
I don't know, that's kind of boring.
Yeah, it's kind of boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did they give you cold readings too?
Yeah, everything.
Those are one of the best.
Yeah. Puts you on the spot.
It does, but I took an acting class years ago. Oh, God, I can't remember the guy's name. He was very well known in Hollywood. But he would teach us to take something like a newspaper and look down and pick up 2 or 3 lines and say them on camera and look down, pick up 4 lines. You look down, pretty soon you're doing a whole paragraph, looking down once and looking up.
Yeah.
And not forgetting anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was a good way of training how to do cold readings, because when you go into an office and you want to cold read, the last thing you want to see is the top of your head looking at a line.
Exactly. That's
so
the worst
you need to look at camera or hold it under the camera and say it. Or, if they have a teleprompter, even better.
Yeah.
But acting, and I want to talk about this for a second before we get to the other stuff, because I did the same thing. And I was always kind of discouraged about, you don't want to be an actor. They don't make any money. They'll work as waiters, and there's no money in it. You're never going to be a star. You get this all the time.
All the time.
Stay in school and become something else, and
become something that I can't.
Yeah, I mean, you can become anything you want if you have the passion and desire to. But if you have a desire to go on stage, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
So you don't make it overnight. Maybe you don't have things going your way all the time. Eventually it hits. If you stay with it long enough, it'll hit. Professional wrestling was another one. Why would you want to do that? Only idiots do that. I'm going way back.
Yeah.
No one does that thing for a living. Those are just guys that have nothing like the circus. I kind of like the circus.
Yeah.
That's a fun way of life, and you meet interesting people. And I do like to clown around.
Exactly.
And hang out with midgets.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Why not?
So when you go into acting like you did, and did you start getting some roles right off the bat?
No, it was very tough.
Yeah.
It was very, very tough. I mean, I booked a few parts here and there, a couple student films, and I did.
Student films are good.
Student films are good, yeah, but no one ever hardly pays you, so
no, but
that's the only part of that.
Even if after I'd been in the business 20 years, people over at USC said, we're doing a student film, we need your character for something, would you do it for us? Yeah. I went over and helped them out, and I had some cool stuff that came out of there. They were good producers.
Yeah. I mean, not all of them, but you know.
No.
But it helps when they know what they're doing.
It helps, and you can take a little bit of that reel and use it for something else once in a while.
Exactly. I mean, all you need is like a few seconds.
Exactly. No one has to know where it came from. So where were you living at the time?
Glendale.
Oh, still here in LA.
Still, 25 years.
That's funny how you've been there. You're only 23 years old.
Yeah.
You got 2 extra years on it.
I got 2 extra years. Yeah.
Did you get an agent?
No, I didn't. I pretty much I booked myself on auditions through Actors Access and LA Casting.
Yeah.
A couple common ones here and there, and
I have to agree with you on that. I mean, agents are good to a point.
Yeah.
But they don't really get you the work you want. They'll submit you, and then you're on your own. But once you get in the business and you start working, you meet producers on the indie set. And I had met one in particular, a director. He put me in 12 films, and he had films, martial arts films. I did all of them. Because he was a friend of mine. I helped him train in the ring. He said, okay, and he shot good SAG films. He put me in every single one of them a different role.
Oh, good.
And that was kind of lucky, because then you build a reel to go somewhere else. But auditions for film are hard because normally they have somebody in mind before you even go in there. They just got to go through the steps.
Yeah.
Now, for commercial, it's a different deal because the commercials come out every day and it's a 2-day shoot or a 1-day shoot. They're looking for a specific character, and when you go in, they don't know who they want until they see you. And then you can go in and give them something completely different, and they say, oh, that's what I want.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's how you get it.
Exactly. I mean, I remember booking a feature film, my very first feature film that I booked about 3 years ago. And I got the part right off the bat, the first call. And everything was great and it was perfect, even though it was for a small part.
Sure.
It was something, and
exactly, yeah.
It was it's like winning a small lottery,
Well, it makes you feel good when you've been accepted.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot, it's kind of cool.
Exactly. But, after, I think it was the second or third week, I heard nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just everything just kind of went cold. And then later on down the road, I found out that they gave the part to somebody else.
Happens.
After they casted me. And I was like,
me too. And they actually got rid of me.
Sense.
And they got a woman instead. I could have played that role.
Yeah.
I went out for a commercial once. You'll like this. It was for Flues. It was Internet Money, and it was owned by Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, good.
So they had a lot of people out for different types of characters, and they brought me in as a bodybuilder. And I said, I don't want to go as a bodybuilder. I'm tired of bodybuilding. Not tired of, but I'm tired of playing bodybuilding.
But you looked the part.
Yeah, but I also see that picture right there with the tights and the belt. I wore that. And I went into the producers and directors. I said, look, I'm Rick Drasin. You got me in as a bodybuilder. But I'm a pro wrestler. You don't have a wrestler on your schedule here to even see. And it would certainly throw a different look into your commercial if you had something with the belt that showed something other than muscle. But with muscle, but a talent and a title. And they looked at me and they said, it's not a bad idea. And they hired me as the wrestler.
There you go.
See, so I actually changed their minds. These guys out in the waiting room said, oh, that's not going to happen. You can't tell them that. I said, I can tell them anything I want. I don't need their money. I have my own income.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell them this, and if they take it, fine, and they took it.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you bring something to the table that's different, people look at it and they say, well, this is cool. Let's go this route. You don't know until you tell them, right?
Right.
All right, so you got some acting roles. You're still pursuing it?
Yes.
Do you have an agent yet?
I have a manager.
Okay, that's just as good.
Which is just as good.
Actually,
which is a little better.
Actually, they work harder.
Yeah, they do.
And there's more personal contact.
More personal, exactly. Yeah, agent is click submit.
No, it's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
You used to literally send your picture over and call in and say, no, I've got this person, they're great for you. You need to see them. They say, okay, send them in. Now it's an electronic picture and they don't hear anything. And I always felt like I'd walk out of an audition and if I didn't hear back, I said, I don't care, I'm on the next. I forgot I went.
Oh, it's so discouraging.
Can be.
It's so discouraging. I mean, I've probably had over 200 no's and 4 yeses, or 5 yeses or something like that.
Yeah, it's really, for you, I mean, there's a lot of women out there. For me, there's a lot of bald guys now.
Yeah.
Everybody had dark beards, so I made my beard white. So that way I wouldn't be in conflict with the dark beards. Because I had a dark beard, I got a lot of work. Do something different, make it white. Next time I shave one eyebrow off, maybe that'll work. Here I am with and without. So
a different couple looks to play with.
Yeah, you gotta be able to play with it. So then you got into martial arts?
I did.
You wanted to kick ass? Is this what it was?
Yeah, absolutely. All the way. I met Sensei Benny actually.
Yeah.
While I was studying at the Strasbourg Academy, and it was a year into my studies after I met him, and Sensei Benny was teaching film fighting. And I said, you know what, if I'm ever gonna do this, if I'm ever gonna make it look real on camera, I better know how to kick some real ass.
Exactly.
And that's why I pursued. I took the route that I did with learning martial arts, And it's funny because you go in for one thing and you fall on top of another.
Always.
And I know I didn't expect it to be like that at all because I was so young and so inexperienced, and I still kind of am, but I have a lot more experience than when I began.
Well, you do that. You're going for something and you don't necessarily get the role you went on. They said, but we got something else in mind.
Yeah.
And sometimes that ends up being better.
Exactly.
You don't even know until you do it. And
That's
you think, wow.
the beautiful part.
And then they can expand that role and make it into something else. Benny's one of the best in the world. I mean, I've known him for a long time.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. And he has a ton
doubt.
of connections.
Oh, yeah.
So that's somebody I want to stay with. And then, so, did you do some films with martial arts?
I did. I filmed, I had a small part called Ambushed. It was an action crime drama, and it starred Dolph Lundgren and Randy Couture.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
good people.
Excellent, very nice, very professional, very friendly. And, I was in, I think, like 2 scenes. I think 2 or 3 scenes.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and I got tapped Hartley, so that was a home run.
That's a plus.
It's a plus.
From there, where did you go? What did you do?
Continue training, it's funny because that was the time that I started wrestling. That was the time when I started training for my wrestling.
That's what I want to find out. What from that situation, what made you take a left turn into wrestling?
Well, I was doing wrestling before I did.
Oh, you were?
Yes. I was already training
I didn't know that. That's
why.
wow.
I was filming at the same time that I was training for my matches for my debut in WOW. So it was on set 6 a.m. to around 5 o'clock in the evening, 6 o'clock, 7 to 11 in the wrestling ring.
I see.
Yeah, and I did that for about 2 months.
And the martial arts too.
And the martial arts.
Okay, that all figures. I didn't know which one you had done first. So how did this come about with WOW? Did they put an audition notice out for girls for wrestlers?
Yeah, they put an audition out, and at first I was a little skeptical. I wasn't sure if this was something that was going to be up my alley or. But I mean, again, I just went in there.
Right.
I went in there. I auditioned.
Yeah.
And
what did they have you do?
Just talk a little bit about ourselves, introduce ourselves. Jeannie Buzz, David McClain, and one of the former WOW girls was, they were the 3 that
were doing casting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just talking, I did a couple kicks for them, and I think that really got over with Jeannie. I think she was really impressed.
Oh, you have good kicks.
Yeah, I do. I'm a kicker.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, thank you.
I get a kick out of you. So then, what happened with the involvement of WOW? Where did it go, and how did you start getting that? How did they start filming this whole process?
Okay, everything happened so quickly.
Yeah.
It started very quickly and it ended quickly.
No, things do like that.
Yeah. It was great. We trained for a few months, and then we debuted in January 2013, January 19th, at the Eastside Casino Cannery Hotel in Las Vegas. And we did both of our shows in the same hotel, January 19th and March 9th. Great show. We had a full house. We had a good...
That's good.
Great reviews, great matches, great production. But that was it. And it's funny because I remember being in the dressing room after my second match in March, and one of the girls, she came up to me and she was like, "So, are you excited for your big break?" And I was like, What are you talking about? What big break? And she was like, "Oh, you haven't heard? We're not gonna wrestle for like a month." And I was like, okay, and where did you get your information from?
Yeah, sure.
Where is this coming from?
Sure.
So that's when I got really nervous, and I'm like, I finally found something that fits, everything that I've done up until this point, and now it's just going to be taken away, and I was going to happen. So that's why I took initiative. I took matters into my own hands, and I said, if David is going to stop shooting, if they're going to stop training, well, that's not going to stop me. I'm going to do...
No, you can't stop.
No. So I made the decision, ultimately, to pack my bags. And, I called up Steve and I said, listen, I want to get into the business, and I want to get into some training, and I want to travel. I want to start doing more shows.
Tell us what Steve does so they know.
Well, Steve is actually, right now, he's my manager, and he owns a booking website called bookprowrestlers.com. That's bookprowrestlers.com, and he represents a lot of former WWE superstars.
A lot of people.
A lot.
It's a big website, nice website.
Yes, yeah, and I kind of helped him form the Book Pro Wrestlers. He started off small, and exactly. Yeah. But right now, it's like he's got everybody.
That's awesome. He's a nice guy.
He's a great guy.
He's a really nice guy.
Very professional.
I've talked to him a lot. I really like him. Well, you can't just quit because somebody else quits. You know?
No.
The company goes down, you go to a new company. You know, Glow was around for a long time. A lot of the girls I knew, and it went, I think, 7 years, pretty long time.
Yeah.
And then, like we had WOW and WrestleLicious did 13 episodes, and they trained here, right? You did in the ring with me, and they never made it off the ground. They did a few shows, and it never went anywhere. And I think the problem with the all-girl wrestling thing is now the WWE and even TNA at the time, they all have women.
Yeah.
They have them, so they don't need to go to another channel to watch 40 of them when they can see them right there, which is what you want to do now.
Yes.
So, I mean, you can't get any bigger than WWE.
No.
It's as big as it goes.
Yeah.
So if you get on that roster, then you've really got it made.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen in the ring and talking to you, and I told you, you're a wonderful girl. You got a great personality. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
You're great in the ring. You've got all the elements to take it and make it good work for yourself. And it takes elements.
Yeah.
You know, you can be a pretty face and not have any skill. You can have skill and not have a pretty face.
That's
then
right.
you got to have charisma, and you have all that. And I'm not just buttering you up. You have all that, and that's what it takes for people to like you, to want to come and buy a ticket to see you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm relatable. You know, that's the best part.
You're related to everybody.
Yeah. I try.
So you worked a little bit with Rocky Johnson?
I did.
That's The Rock's dad?
That's The Rock's dad, yeah. It was such a long journey, and obviously we work with a lot of professionals in the business, but he was one that kind of fell into our path.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. He has a ton of experience, and you know, we initially, we went in for him because he was our client. So part of my job was to make business cards, create a Facebook page, his social media, print out agreement sheets, talk to a couple promoters alongside Steve at the time. And I mean, it was the most interesting time of my life, and that was actually 1 year ago today.
Yeah.
So it's funny because 1 year ago today, that's what I was doing in Florida.
Well, Rocky, if you're watching this, Jack Armstrong says he talks to you, and I want to remind you of the days we trained at Gold's Gym down in Venice, all of us, back in the 70s, when we had a really good time and did the Olympic Auditorium. And you were awesome, and you're still awesome, and we all love you. And we're so glad you're still around doing stuff. He's an awesome guy. He just knows the business so well.
Yeah.
So glad to see he's doing well.
Yeah. He really is.
And your next step, now you're training out here with me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah? You having fun?
I'm having a great time.
Kicking all the guys' asses?
You know what? I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. It's because everything seems to be in my reach.
Yeah.
I don't have to drive an hour. I don't have to drive 2 hours. It's just literally it's 20 minutes away.
It's true. Yeah, it's convenient.
And then 10 more minutes down to 101, there's my dojo. Everything is right next to each other.
And you have time for everything.
And I have time for everything, and I make time for everything.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Are you working too for income?
Yes, I am. I'm helping my mother actually at her home healthcare agency. She's a registered nurse.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I assist her with that in her office.
That's good.
Part-time.
Yeah. So you're allowed to do everything you want.
Yeah.
You have the time to do it. Oh, that's awesome.
I have the freedom.
If people want to reach you, where can they find you on the internet?
Facebook.com/Tatevik the Gamer, and the A in the Gamer is number 4. So that's G number 4 MER.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can people also message you through there? Do you talk to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't talk to anybody.
Wait, no, I don't talk to them on my page.
I'm kidding. I do. No, it's good to interact with the fans.
It's fun. It's fun to answer questions every now and then. But I don't want to get too friendly.
No, but the people contact me from the show and they have questions from the past, and I try to answer everybody because they're my fans and your fans, and they deserve an answer. They're asking. I just as soon interact with them and let them know that I'm a human being, that I care.
Yes.
Because I do care, and they appreciate it. I get so many nice comments because of that.
I think because I got a few creepy ones.
Well, as a female, you will.
As a female, so I'm just I'm just gonna stay quiet.
I never received any like that. Some guy told me I was hot, and I deleted him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That happens. So
it does happen.
I'm not hot anymore. Maybe when I was 10.
Oh.
I want to say that there's a lot of you work with. You ever work with trainers in fitness?
I have.
Well, there's a company called National Academy of Sports Medicine, NASM, and they're the #1 company that certifies trainers to train in gyms to become certified to be good trainers in what they do. And so right now they're offering a 14-day free trial on my page. It would be myusatrainer.com/Rick to try out their certification.
Oh, good.
And so I said I would mention that on here because I believe in what they do, and I've trained a lot of people, and I see a lot of trainers today that do not know what they're doing, who have not been certified. But to train in the gyms nowadays, you have to be certified.
Yeah.
So I would say go to NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, go to myusatrainer.com/Rick, click on it, and get the 14-day free trial with my name. I don't get anything for it. Maybe a meal, not even that. But give it a shot because it's worth trying out. They're a good company. I also want to mention, because you know that I did the Gold's Gym logo.
Yeah.
And there it is right there, drawn on a piece of paper, 8x10.
Very nice.
I offer that on my website for sale for you people who are history buffs and want a collector's item of the original golds to hang on your wall, because this is an iconic logo that was the largest logo in the world. And now I can autograph it to you, sign it by me, send it out. You frame it, put it on the wall, send me a picture of you holding it, and I'll put you on the show with it and on my Facebook pages and all my websites. So there it is, rickdrasin.com. You can find it there.
There you go.
Wow, world of speeches. World Gym sponsors me, and World Gym has an ambassadorship, and every week they have a new video, a training video on. So I'm going to put that on as well, a link to it in my description of my box for working arms, working shoulders, working tricep, working legs. The World Gym is a short video where they're ambassadors, and I find it pretty interesting. In fact, I'm going to do a few myself for them, for the older guys who want to get back in shape that have been out of the gym for a long time. There's a lot of men out there, and I'm going way back to 40 all the way up to 70 who want to get in shape that have never really trained, or some that have, and they don't know where to begin and what to do anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody helps them.
No.
So I'm going to try to work that out where I can, because I'll be 96 in several years if I make it that far, and I want to pass on the knowledge that I had from the golden era, because it's valuable stuff.
Good.
There's not many guys around anymore that still have their mind together.
Oh my God.
This is why I shave my head, to keep my thoughts in there.
Oh, okay. I was wondering this whole time.
No, it's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
And we're going to watch you as you progress into your wrestling career. Because I know you're going to be big.
Yeah.
And when you get to WWE and do really big things with them, I don't want you to forget the little people here like myself.
Why does everybody say that? I don't understand.
Because it's part of what we do. It's part of what we do. I have a little person I keep with me all the time. No, that's not him.
No.
They say on your hand, and I've said this before, you can count all your friends on one hand.
Yeah.
Well, I have this one, this one, this one, this one, and there's my little one. That's the midget.
Oh.
So I do have all sizes with me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
And
pleasure's all mine.
next time lunch is on me.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Really? Thanks for watching Rick's Corner, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
It's rickdrasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.